watched last game?
Matt wanted me to be up there, kind of wanted me to have a different perspective. So, yeah, checked it out. I think I'll be staying up there. It was good.
What advantage do you think you had from?
I think he just kind of wanted me to look more at the secondary, things like that.
How was the food spread up there?
I didn't eat. I don't like eating during games or anything like that, but I've, yeah, guys say certain stadiums are better than others for sure with their food selection. Or you guys are probably pros with all that stuff. Yeah.
What's the challenge concocting a plan to face a team that blitzes as much as the Vikings do?
Yeah. Biggest thing, it limits a lot of things that you can do just with the amount of pressures that they bring and the amount of different pressures they bring. So it limits a lot of things just because you have to be ready. You can get a negative play really fast if you're in the wrong play. So you really have to kind of pull back on what you're doing and just expect pressure and have answers for that. So that's going to be the big challenge for us, is just making sure we're all on the same page with all that stuff, because there's a lot of different things that they bring.
How do you think you guys have handled pressure so far this year?
We haven't seen a lot of it, to be honest with you. Teams haven't really pressured us much. We have done okay at times. So, yeah, this will be a good challenge. We'll kind of figure out and see where we're at.
You guys obviously put a lot of energy into how you start the game as far as scripts or however you want to call it. Do you figure out anything about why it hasn't worked early, but then the second half comes and the script is long gone, you've had some success?
Yeah, it is interesting kind of how that has played out. You know, every week you come in, you emphasize, hey, we need to start fast. You kind of pick the plays that you think the guys are really comfortable with, and you know, can give you a chance to get things rolling, try and get the quarterback in a groove, all that stuff. So yeah, I think guys kind of take a breath, and as the game goes on, they just feel more comfortable and start executing better. But that's been our biggest thing in the first half, is just untimely penalties, negative plays, things like that just kill drives and really stymie our execution. So we keep talking about it, we keep focusing on it, and just making sure we're focused, we're dialed in, and every drive is important. Anytime we get the ball, we got to make sure that we're doing whatever we can to come away with points.
Are teams kind of breaking their tendencies by playing all that zone that you've seen?
Yeah, at times they are, definitely. We're seeing that for sure.
Is that part of the issue maybe early on? I mean, do you expect more teams to come out and more man, and then all of a sudden they're just playing zone?
Just situationally, I think. It's not like throughout the whole game or in first and second down. But yeah, teams definitely, as games go, you know, hey, we're seeing more of this. We got to get ready for it. So yeah, you definitely have to, as the game goes, adjust for sure. And you know, Matt's been doing a good job with that. All of our coaches, I think, have been doing a really good job as the game's progressing, kind of figuring out what's happening and having answers for that.
I'm sorry if this is a stupid question, but is that something that is more likely to throw off inexperienced receivers as opposed to man coverage, where they maybe have to figure out where to sit down and stuff?
Yeah.
Is that part of the challenge?
Yeah, all of that, you know, going into it, it's not just beating the guy that's covering you, it's finding the holes in the zones and things like that for sure is stuff that, you know, as you keep playing, things become easier and easier, recognizing coverage, things like that for sure. There's no dumb questions.
No, there are.
Just dumb people.
When you guys are game planning, again, tell me if I'm wrong on this, but watching you guys, it feels like from the outside that you and Matt and the coaches are trying to find things that are simple enough so inexperienced receivers and tight ends can do what they're supposed to do, while also being complicated enough that defenses aren't like, well, this stuff's easy, we can see what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the balance you're always trying to find, is not getting too complicated so guys, you know, mess up when they're out there, and then definitely keeping it as fresh as you can, just to keep defenses on their toes, and then having plays off plays that you've shown. Yeah, no, that's 100% the challenge.
So then, is there also the challenge too, though, of like one of the good things about this offense, you guys generally scheme guys open and you confuse opposing defenses with either something complicated or the illusion of being complicated. So is it a cat and mouse game for you to figure out what can work for Jordan and what can work for these guys that he's throwing to? Because there's been instances where two guys appear to run the exact same route and end up in the same spot.
Yeah, there have been some miscommunications. That kind of goes back to the execution that we're talking about, where, you know, we may have a mess up here that kills a drive. So that's exactly right, where we just got to do a better job executing and also making sure the guys are all on the same page. That's the biggest thing, because typically in football, if you're all on the same page, you got a chance. And if you're not, then it's going to be really hard to be successful.
I know you were asked several weeks ago, at the beginning of the season, about Yash. And you said at the time that some guys respond to competition, some guys don't. How have you seen him respond since then?
He's done a great job. Yash has played good football for us, and he comes in every day. He's a pro, works hard, and anytime we've needed him in a bunch of different roles that he's had, you see him on field goal block, he's coming in as an extra tight end, things like that. He does a good job, so I'm happy for him, for sure.
With that said, and he's played quite a bit of football for you the past couple of years. Is he in consideration for getting on the field? What's he got to do to earn some snaps?
I think just keep showing up every day and doing good work. Keep competing and playing hard and just waiting for his turn.
Back to the script stuff. I mean, it's not like this is play 1, this is play 2, this is play 15, right? But what is, like, those first 15, whatever, is it plays or is it different situations? Because what is on that?
Yeah, you kind of have your first grouping of plays that you want to use to either see what the defense is doing or use to set up other plays. You know what I mean? So it's kind of a combination of both, that you have like a normal down and distances, and then you have some other plays for situations, like if you get across a certain yard line or 3rd and short or whatever it is. Yeah, so it's a combination of a lot of things when it gets into that.
Okay, so it's, I mean, obviously you want to move the ball, but there's some
Yes.
bigger
You do.
picture. I guess the question is, there's some bigger picture stuff involved other than we just want to get a first down here. You're maybe trying to.
Well, yeah, anytime,
Get
like
some
you're
intel or whatever?
like, all right, how can I get this guy the ball early? You know, get him comfortable, get him grooving, see what he can do. You know what I mean? Get guys comfortable, get them going into the game. So that's what you kind of want to do is, you know, get the ball in the hands of your playmakers to make stuff happen.
What's kind of held you back in the screen game, you know, from being more of an effective play for you?
Well, screens are very hit and miss. When they hit, you know, and when they don't, a lot of times you're like, oh, that looked pretty crappy. So I think certain screens that we've had, we've done a good job. Like we had one to Romeo, went for like 15 yards in the game on a perimeter screen. Obviously, we hit Aaron Jones on the Bears one for about 40 yards. So it's just one of those things where, you know, we just got to do a great job. Anytime we get those opportunities to get the ball, we're blocking, we're timed up, and getting the ball in space to a playmaker. So, yeah, those things, it's a lot about timing for sure. And then we always, you know, when you coach them up, screens are one of those things where you may coach it up, but a lot of different things can happen on the play, as far as O-lineman getting out or they blitz, how do you react, things like that. So just as guys get a little bit more experience, I think that'll definitely be a bigger part of our offense for sure.
You know the one on the fade to Romeo, you kind of had one set up. It looked
Yeah,
like
down
for Jones.
in the red zone.
Yeah. Did that develop too late for him to even consider it, or was it just locked in?
I think Jordan saw a one-on-one matchup that he wanted to try. So pre-snap, he just decided to give Romeo a chance at the fade.
That had a chance to.
Yeah, there was a chance there.
So, going back to I'm sorry, Wes. I didn't mean to cut you off. Going back to the offensive line for a second, with a team that's this blitz heavy, I'm guessing it's not the greatest time to contemplate any sort of changes, but you do talk about how you have to compete every week in that group, and you've coached that group before. Are there conversations about making changes from week to week?
Yeah.
I mean, legitimate, not like, oh, you need to compete, but like
Yeah.
real conversations. And if you were to make changes, not saying you're doing that this week, but how challenging is that to make a switch during the season?
I don't think at this point it's too challenging. But yeah, every week we're evaluating our personnel and evaluating who we think is the best guy to be out there for us in every position, not alone just the offensive line. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
The reason I'm asking is because it looked like for the brief time that you put Tom at center, he had a good play off of it. Obviously, he went back out to right tackle. I'm just trying to understand. You don't want to be juggling a whole hell of a lot of guys here. So I'm just wondering how you go about handling a situation like that.
you're saying moving Zach to center?
Possibly, yes.
Oh, no. I think to say, like, Josh Myers is playing the best he's played in his career. I think he's playing really well. So I don't think right now that is the best move for us because he is one of our best 5 players. Josh, I'm talking about. Zach's obviously playing really well as well at tackle. So, yeah, you always prepare guys, all right, hey, if this guy goes down, you're the next guy up. And sometimes that means you have to shuffle a starter to another spot and bring another guy in. You try as much as possible not to do that, where you can just go 1 for 1 instead of having to replace 2 starters. But in that scenario, we felt like that was the best for us.
I think Tucker probably had his most workload so
Yeah.
far this season.
Yeah.
How'd you feel he did with that? Just
Really good. Yeah, I'm really fired up about him. Every week he's kind of gotten a little bit more of a load, a little bit more, and he's done a good job. Yeah, he's coming along.